Did you know you get more truth if you watch news broadcasts from everywhere outside the United States? Sky News Australia, there's news organizations reporting from around the globe that are more accurate than U.S. News. U.S. News is so biased, it's not even funny, but we need to talk about something because Democrats are the most ignorant people in America. Let me rephrase that. The voters are. The leaders are not so dumb. They know what they're doing. It's calculated destruction to the economy, to the standard of living, to your right to freedoms. Sorry, I'm adjusting my outfit here. Isn't that cute? I do this on purpose now because I have the confidence to be who I am. And no, I'm not a trans. Too many people commenting on my nipples, and it's hot. And I'm not going to wear a shirt for a YouTube video because I don't make hundreds of thousands. I don't make any money. So what's the point? This is a rant for your enjoyment. That's it. The CCP, China's had been hit with some hellacious stuff. Tornadoes, earthquakes, locust swarms, ant swarms, bats crawling up the sides of trees, steam coming out of the ground, water bubbling out of the ground, mud bubbling out of the ground. You think God's trying to get China's attention? I would say so. But do you think the CCP is listening? They're atheists. You know, they're trying to rewrite the Bible. You heard that, right? The Bible's very clear. If anybody adds or takes away from the words of this prophecy, now that's talking specifically about Revelation, I believe. But we could say, I think it's talking about the whole Bible. You know, there's some curses there. When China announced it's going to rewrite the Bible, all of a sudden things are going pretty bad over there. But for American Democrats, the American voters that vote Democrat, it's amazing how dumb they are. They're illiterate. They're not in the know. They're not liberated. All they have to do to see the direction that their party is headed is watch the CCP. You know, China went on this massive construction project, damming up the Yangtze River and other rivers, major rivers. And with all this rain, they're letting the dams get rid of some of that water, which I understand. But they have come out and said they need to protect Bejing, so they're sacrificing other cities. Have you noticed, whether it's the U.S. or anywhere in the world, these big giant disasters that happen always seem to avoid touching the elite, the filthy rich, the politicians? Have you noticed that? This is just a casual drive-by observation by Pacific. You might want to pay attention to that. How come a tsunami doesn't hit Martha's Vineyard? I think it'd be awesome if it did. Yes, I said that. I think a 120-foot wall of water just bearing down with all the people on Martha's Vineyard, including the Obamas and all the liberals, I think that'd be a delightful thing to see. I think it'd be a delightful thing to see the CCP and every leader and the president of China's CCP, all that floodwater swirl around their homes and drown all of them sons of you-know-whats. What I don't like is the common people, the you and I's that are all around the globe, including in China. Their lives are fucked up. They lose their homes. They lose their jobs. They lose everything. You think the CCP is going to help them out? Don't ever listen to the bullcrap that comes out of atheist mouth that says, oh, religion's killed many. And they're right. But what they fail to include in that statement is atheism is a religion. It takes more faith to believe there is no God than it does to believe that there is. And atheism under Stalin and Lenin and godless leaders, Kim Jong-un and the CCP, have killed so much more than Muslims, Catholics. We don't even know the numbers of the evil Chinese leaders and the people they've slain and killed and tortured. There's a photo album for sale. It's going to fetch a lot of money. Whoever put it together was over in Nanking when the Japanese came in and did the Nanking massacre. Something like 200,000 people killed. But it didn't just stop there. They raped 3-year-olds. They raped infants, old ladies, fucked them, tortured them. The Japanese were nasty. They were demonically infested people back in the day. Turnabout is fair play. China has become a menace not just to Japan, but to the world. When you don't believe in God, when you believe in the foolishness of evolution, and these leaders in the CCP are fucking hypocrites, every single one of them needs to be blown away. Every single CCP needs to be put in front of an executioner squad. Every damn one of them. I will not apologize for that. They are evil. They don't believe in freedom. They believe in oppression. Anybody pay attention to what was going on in 2019 when we had COVID-19, which, by the way, that all came out of China. And don't think that that wasn't orchestrated. Don't think that there wasn't Democrat Americans involved in that. If you think you know everything as an American, you are really ignorant. This government is not transparent in this country, especially now. You watch what Hunter Biden is doing. There's so much illegal bullshit going on, and nothing's happening to any of them. Any. The Democrats have gained control of the FBI, the CDC, the DOJ, and all the other alphabet organizations that we used to look up to. There's no accountability. Same with the CCP. They're not a government for the people, by the people. They're an oppressive regime. You piss them off, you're going to lose everything, including your life. When atheism rules, the people live in fear. When atheism rules, the people end up getting the short end of the stick every time. Does Christianity have its problems? No, Christianity does not have its problems. Christians have problems. There is no problem with biblical Christianity. There's a problem with us, that we don't always live it, that we don't always walk it and talk it. Sometimes Christians can be awful, ugly people. In America, we got a large percentage of middle-class Christians that sit under household name preachers that are making $200,000, $300,000, worth $10 million, $80 million. That's disgusting. Christianity in America the culture of Christianity seems to have lost its traction in actually reaching people anymore. You have stagnated, stale churches all across the American landscape that won't even say hello to somebody who wanders in if they're not an attractive, pretty woman or somebody walking in that looks like they're worth money. The church has become the very thing it was supposed to loathe. With PowerPoint presentations and crappy music and blended worship services, the church has capitulated into an absolute free fall of cultural compromise and trying to entertain people to Jesus. But even amidst this backdrop with all of its problems, China is evil. The CCP is evil. You can always tell when evil exists, when people that are close to being exposed start threatening and killing. When China starts shutting down the internet and not letting the citizens broadcast the world the atrocities that their government leadership is doing to them, that's not freedom. That's tyranny. Biden and America playing footsie with China never should have happened. I'm a different person now than I was when I was in Hong Kong. Make no mistake about it. I have more resolve. I know my compass is headed in the right direction. I was caught up in yellow fever. I was caught up in chasing Asian women, and it was fun, and it was met with sorrow and other problems. But even when I lived in Hong Kong, I looked at the Chinese in Hong Kong and their droids and zombies going after the buck. I look at the Chinese people in China. They look depressing. Communism, socialism. Look at the Democrats in the United States. I'm sick and tired of people saying they're liberated, when not only are they not liberated, but you can tell they're in chains by the scowls and the frowns and the ugly demeanors and countenances that mark their faces. When people believe a lie, when people believe the wrong stuff, they're miserable. They might have moments of happiness, but they never can know joy. Never. The communist CCP is evil. It is evil. I have to turn on the fan. It's warm today. The fact that a government would sacrifice its own citizens in towns and cities that they don't consider as important as Bejing, why would any Democrat want to vote that kind of thinking in the U.S.? We saw what happened in Maui. We know what's going on in Maui. This is not conspiracy theory. This is intelligent people of all walks of life, male, female, black, or white, are commenting on the atrocity of Lahaina, that our government has done nothing, that Biden, swelling with his disgusting oldness, codger oldism, says every family that lost something in Lahaina is going to get $700. Shit, that won't even cover a half a day in Hawaii. How generous. But this son of a bitch gives illegals and refugees and some of the dregs in American society that keep having babies and contribute nothing, that live off the welfare system, gave them generous COVID-19 checks. So lucrative was this that people just walked away from their jobs. Let that sink in. This administration is evil. This administration plays footsie with the CCP. Did you see the news? Putin is going to meet Kim Jong-un. That ought to be a nice, friendly get-together, right? Putin meeting with a dictator, an oppressive dictator. America has done herself in. I believe that. It's just a matter of time before it just collapses. People ask me all the time, when? What do you think? I don't know. I get up every day and I just think, my gosh, Are the banks going to fail? Is the economy going to crash? Are the Democrats going to strip us of everything so that we have no rights? There was an interview with a chairman or a CEO of Ford. They're not selling the EV pickup trucks. They're not doing it. This administration is pushing electric on us, and all they need to do is look at China that's got acres and acres of cars sitting there with batteries that they can't do anything about. That this administration doesn't look at entire neighborhoods across the U.S. that the electrical system cannot support charging stations in every driveway, which costs, what, $15,000 or more to install? People with older homes in a 50s home or 40s home, 20s home are going to really be able to afford that, right? They talk about saving the earth. They're not. More destruction comes in the United States when Democrats are in power. Don't believe me? Look at the riots. Look at the crime. Tell me how that's recycling the planet. Tell me how that's conserving. Please, because I'm still looking for an answer. Burning stuff, busting up buildings and property, the cost, and all that smoke, releasing all the plastics and toxic chemicals in the air of fires and looting. The Democrats are hypocrites. Not only are they not saving the environment, they're adding to the collateral damage and destruction and pollution of this planet. Pay attention to what's going on in Seattle and San Francisco. Businesses, anchor businesses are leaving the nice downtowns because they've just been torn up by the dregs of our American culture. Israel, I was shocked to see this, to see Black African men running through the streets raising hell. It's like, what are all these Black people doing in Israel? And good for Netanyahu said, all of them will be deported. That's an outstanding idea. People want to cry about racism in this country. And I'm going to tell you something. I had a group of students ask me, middle school students, and no, I'm not a school bus driver no more. Are you racist? And I said, why would you even ask me that? I live in a community that's 57% Black. Bought my house in a mostly Black neighborhood. I work for an employer where I'm the minority. I've dated Black women. I have a desire to go to Kenya or Zambia. Does that sound like a racist to you? When Black people ask that question, when they make those statements about our race, has it dawned on you that they're the ones that are racist? They're hiding behind their racism. Blacks ultimately do not believe they're guilty of racism. Talk to them. Talk to them. But they are. I look at what I post on social media and a word to everybody. I don't give out my Facebook to anybody on YouTube. I don't know who you are, and no offense. I've had too many clowns and too many problems. No. This is a forum for you to agree or disagree. That's it. Being friends and all that, done. I have all that I can handle. Those closest to me that have been with me for years are in my phone, my social media. But I find it interesting that Black people will not thumbs up any of my rants, any of my posts at all on Facebook. But if I take a picture with a Black coworker or a Black friend that we went to lunch, all the hearts come from the Black community. And I've noticed something since I've been out here. African American people tend to be very Afrocentric. That means African centered. Diversity is defined to them in their eyes by blacks. That's not how Webster's defines diversity. Diversity is me doing this. Diversity is me growing my hair. Diversity is me being me. And one of the biggest sad things that goes on in this country that most people don't realize because they're part of the problem. America's a box culture. You get American women, they like to think that they're enlightened and they know so much. For example, American Caucasian woman goes into a Chinese restaurant, tries her hand at chopsticks, eats dinner there for what, an hour, and thinks she's an expert on Asian culture. That sounds laughable, but I'm not joking. I've had people make comments about Hong Kong and Asian culture, and I said, did you ever live over there? Well, no. Did you have anything to do with that? No. Well, I live there, and you're full of crap, lady. No, I'm not. I live there, and you're full of crap, because what you described does not go on. Just like women in a chat room years ago said, oh, Asians are dirty women. The Asians I dated were cleaner under here, cleaner down here, and cleaner in the breath than most of these capri-wearing, Target OCD, dog-obsessed SUV Starbucks that says women that got odors all around them. I am critical of that. And do you know why? All of us can smell bad from time to time. That's normal. But these women spend so damn much stuff on makeup and this and that and this and that. And they come out of the bathroom and you sit in the truck with one that I was married to for 14 years. And you're like, why does it smell like dragon breath in here? Or shit. You know, eating food that makes your breath smell like something that goes in the toilet. And people don't like what I say. When you are not in the box, when you are different, you're going to get criticized, harassed, and hassled. You're going to. America likes people to be in sync. You move to a small town, you go to a church. You're expected to get in synchronization with whatever's going on. You're not allowed to be an individual. I've seen this. I've gone to church after church after church after church all across the American landscape, and what I have found is shocking. They're not friendly. They're inverted. They're self-centered. The word fellowship has lost its complete meaning. What we are is information sponges in this country. Oh, did you hear so-and-so? Oh, did you hear this great sermon? Knowledge, baby. We love knowledge. But does that make us closer to the holy? Does that make us more passionate for God? No, it doesn't. I've got a shelf full of commentaries and Bible study books. I've struggled in the last few years with my own walk. I don't pray as much as I should. If I don't feel like going to church, I don't go. And I rationalize it. Why do I want to go sit in a room with a bunch of people that don't give a shit about me? And you got women in there putting on airs and spend hours in front of the bathroom mirror, and they're the popular groupies in that church, and you're just like, has anybody woke up to the fact that whether you're at the job, in a church, or on the streets of America, we're still dealing with teenage high school popularity bullshit? It hasn't gone away, has it? It's not going to go away. Why would it? A group of people that's popular in a church you go to, you could walk in there and go, what is the big deal about these guys? They don't impress me. And that's right, because you're not part of that culture. Every church has a culture. and they're not always good. Churches that emphasize those that are in the leadership, bragging and grandstanding and giving a stage and a pedestal for all those that serve in God in the church setting. Never mind the rest of us out here struggling. We weren't called to serve in those four walls. We were called to do what we were called to do, and that's just ignored. And let me say something. And Christians will always, always have a comeback. They've done nothing in America to stop this crap that's going on right now. They've done absolutely nothing. Oh, you can get down and have your prayer meetings. You can preach. You can teach. You can do this. 50% of all evangelical pastors need to quit, resign, and get out of the ministry. They have no business in there. Thus saith Pacific. People making $200,000 a year like Stanley, people like David Jeremiah, they're worth what, $40 million? Max Lucado and his endless train of, butterflies in your tummy, feel good, glow bug, Teddy Ruxpin style authorship is not what this country needs. We have a comfortable Christian culture that's consumed, whether it's Hibbing, Minnesota, or here, or Denver. I run into men and women. Oh, God has blessed me. This family gave me a Super Duty diesel dually 4-door. Wow, that's nice. A family just gave that to you. Yeah, because we're serving God and he meets all of our needs. You needed a Super Duty dually 4-door long bed diesel pickup, huh? Okay. Christianity in America has become equated with financial gain. The Bible has something to say about that. Thinking that godliness is a means to great gain. We're supposed to stay away from that kind of folk. The CCP is a tyrant. They don't care about their citizens because evolutionists / atheists believe in survival of the fittest. Those with the power, those with the guns. They don't allow the Chinese citizens to own guns, but they do. This is not something that should be ignored. Go ahead. Go on about your business in the U.S. Pacific, I don't get into politics. You better. Because one day you won't even get into the stupid little things you're addicted to right now that you think you can just keep doing forever. One day, door's going to shut and you're going to go, what the hell happened? That part of you ignored, took your rights away. We do need to pray. I mean, we do. But if you think that our prayer is going to change the hand of God, you better guess again. And too many Christians actually believe that if they pray a certain way or pray so many times that they're going to move God's hand. I'm going to tell you something I've learned about God. He's sovereign. And most of the time he's going to tell us no. But if you pay attention to what goes on around us, you've got silly Christian culture Christians. They think because they got nice houses, big bank accounts, and get to go on Christian cruises with Dr. Stanley, get to go on trips to Israel. I hear stories constantly. A friend of mine in Colorado talking to me about the slumlord, the property that I used to caretake for in Colorado is sold, and it was sold to the landlords or the management company used to manage the duplex. They bought the whole property. And an occupant on one of the properties said they will not come and fix anything. They're slumlords. But they've gone to Israel and they go to Florida. They got all these properties down there. And what I see is that Christianity, people who claim to be Christians that got a lot of money, I don't see Christ making a difference at all. They're money-grubbing, money-hungry, greedy people, just like the world around them. And you can't get through to them. You can't get through to these pig-headed, stuck-up, conceited women in the churches. You can't get through to a preacher who's been to Bible college and seminary who's going to look at somebody like me like, you're not qualified. and neither are you. They leave no room in American culture, and I don't believe prophets exist anymore. But the hand cannot say to the foot, I have no need of you, but it goes on all day. You don't have a right to go to your pastor and say, I need to talk to you aside. You're out of line here. I've been to enough churches, and I've noticed it doesn't matter what church you go to in America. Every single pastor believes they're doing the will of God with their congregation, their building programs, whatever the heck. And I met one pastor believes this error, this pastor over here believes that error, and this pastor teaches this heresy. And I've asked a simple question: can all of these people be right? Absolutely not. And we have this illusion because you get your paycheck, you got your house, you got your comfortable life, that, oh yeah, God's all in it. Okay, what about the atheist that's got all of the same things? You get where I'm going with this? So how do you tell the difference between what God is in and what God is not? Well, one of the things you look is how people treat people. You look at Christians that put a fish symbol all over their business, and you look at them and you look at all their assets and their car collections and their mansion collecting and how they treat their employees. And you look at that and you go, is Jesus really shining here, or is it just bumper sticker faith? Well, what does this have to do with the CCP? It has everything to do with it. China went and tore up churches, tore them down, all during 2019 during the COVID-19 thing. And I have to talk that way because of the algorithms of Google, YouTube, and Facebook. You can't say things like WARMING because they'll put their little silly baby bumper stickers on it and pull your video down. The Communist Party is all in our social media, telling you that you have to believe SCIENCE. Well, I do believe in that, but not their version of it, because their version of it is not SCIENCE. It's atheistic bullshit. It's one world government BS. It's manipulation and mind control. Show me the money. Show me the stats. Have you guys noticed how much rain is falling everywhere? Vegas was flooded. Everybody's crying about Burning Man. Burning Man is nothing but pagan revelry. And I posted a comment on one of the videos and I already had 25 thumbs up. Who gives a shit that they all got stuck in the mud? People working for a living are having a greater struggle, and we're all going to whine over a bunch of people that went to a pagan festival. And some wag quipped, what does working people have to do with people going to a festival? You're stupid. I'm not even going to answer your question. I looked at the vehicles that went out there. They weren't Priuses, okay? They weren't Yugos and Geo Metros. Americans have a hard time when their little fun time gets interrupted by a rainstorm. People are losing their fucking everything. I had a friend over at the house the other day, a female, and I put on a video for her to watch because I had to clean up. I had done some work in the house, and I went to clean up while she watched a video in the other room, and it was the Danya Paz. And Americans don't even know about the Danya Paz. Every American knows about the Titanic. And I want to ask my viewers something. Why is more prestige, honor, sadness, and emotion and media press given to the Titanic disaster than the Danya Paz? Why? The Danya Paz was a ferry. And it was in the Philippines, and it was loaded with Filipinas and Filipinos that were headed back to families to celebrate Christmas. And they didn't keep records of how many people, but anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people died when the Danya Paz was struck by an oil tanker. The ocean caught on fire, the oil leaked out, the Danya Paz caught on fire, and people were so stacked in this ferry, they were sleeping on the decks, in the hallways, everywhere. One thing about Filipino people, they're very adaptable. You will not see Americans sleeping on the deck of a ship. They're too uptight for that. And when the fire broke out and people are trying to get out of this thing, people were trampled, people were stuck below. They do not have an official death count on this thing at all. Was there a movie made of Jack and Rose on the bow of this thing? America is not the greatest country on earth. That is a lie. We're probably among the most ignorant people in the world. What we put out there in the media that's so damn important is not. Nobody gives a shit. Oh, wait a minute. Let me paraphrase that. Nobody who has any substance in their head gives a shit about Brad Pitt or Vin Diesel or whoever the hell today's bill of fare actors and actresses are. Nobody gives a shit about pro sports and LeBron. I don't. I could care less. If that whole industry financially collapsed, bye, Felicia. They're saying awful things about my race. They're saying awful things about blue-collar people. This government is treating us like a bunch of idiots. Hollywood needs a judgment of God. The media needs a judgment of God. These fat cat piggy people, Democrats that are making goo-gobs of money promoting CCP shit, need to be judged. And stopped. Anybody who fucks with people trying to make a living, trying to afford their food, fucking with the automobile, driving up gas price by refusing to let any drilling, anything take place, and force everybody to bend their knee to the almighty Caesar of the Democrat left. And we have morons in this country who know more about the who's who in Hollywood that vote for that shit in the White House. They don't know a damn thing about a damn anything of anything substantial. They don't care about what's going on in the rest of the world. Americans don't give a shit about the Danya Paz. There was no first-class passengers. There's no wealth involved. It's a ferry boat. Nobody cares in America. And that right there is an object lesson to show us that the rest of the world views America that, yeah, they think whatever they're all into over there is important. Even Australia has a problem with us. They kind of look at us like the Brady Bunch looked at Marsha. Marsha. United States. Do you ever hear anything about Australia? Hardly. Do you ever hear anything about our silent neighbor to the north? Hardly. America is very U.S.-centric. And most of our problems over here are because of centricism. Afrocentric people refusing to believe the truth about the party that they vote for. And that's why it's repeat and repeat year after year. Let's bust up shit. Let's steal shit. Let's scream racism. Nothing changes. One term the Democrats win. One term the Republicans win. The Republicans have lost their boldness. They've lost their courage. Fox News and independent people are saying, oh, look at what Biden's are looking. But what is your purpose? What are the Republicans doing? Nothing. Nothing's changing. Nothing's happening. Evil is on the throne. And you cannot educate the dumb-ass voters that vote for dumb-ass Democrats. Have you seen some of these Democrats? Come down here and look at some of the black people I see. Women yelling and screaming and no bra and their hoochie nanny sticking out and their 10-foot wide ass hanging out of their pants, driving, cutting people off. But then they got "I voted" on the back of their car. You really want a person like that voting? You really think they're going to vote for solid, value-oriented leaders? Hell no. People know more about Hollywood and sports and cars and bullshit than they do about what the hell is going on behind closed doors in Washington. The CCP are well-fed. They're not living in a 1950s fixer-upper. They're not driving a second-hand pickup truck. And this has been my beef about every one of these despotism, tyrannical, oppressive regimes. They all live good. Adolf Hitler had his young Fräuleins. He had his little chalets up in the mountains in Bavaria or whatever. And the Democrats are no different than any of these clowns that I'm talking about. They're gluttonous, gorging, greedy bastards, all. They say they have compassion. Yeah, taking our tax dollars and throwing it at bullshit. Go drive through the projects anywhere USA and tell me how the fuck that's working out. Look at the behavior of the children in those projects. Look at the behavior of the mothers in those projects. Look at the slut, open sexuality, the bad behavior of the black males that wandering in through there. Check it out, man. Really working. Let's keep giving them shit. And Vietnam vets and veterans of our military lie in the streets, and America doesn't give a shit. Hardworking Americans, there's no breaks for us. Just like that song by Oliver, Rich Men North of Richmond. Working overtime hours for bullshit pay. And Biden is a loser. Gets up there on national TV. Yep, and I've done these things to, yeah, you're going to take credit for the economy, huh? That it's going good. Biden doesn't have to worry about going to Walmart and dumping $156 on 9 bags of groceries. You don't even have to think about it. Joe Biden's got COVID. Too bad it didn't kill her. This is what I don't like about our country is they put people, if I was to drop off in this country, nobody would care. There's a handful of people that would, but nobody cares. But it's so sick that, oh my gosh, Biden's wife's got COVID. I hope it takes her. I wish COVID will go through the entire Democrat leadership party and take them out because they're fucking with us. Go ahead. Put my Christianity out. Oh, you claim to be a Christian. Oh! So I'm supposed to fake it to you and lie to you? I would love to see these wicked, self-indulgent leaders drop like flies. No, I'm not into violence. I don't want to see violence. That's not what I'm talking about. But I wish some paralyzing virus would knock them all out. AOC, that crazy dang black woman, I can't even remember her damn name. All these people in politics running their mouths saying that we're racist, that, you know, we got to save the and change what we drive and get rid of lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and ceiling fans. And Like I said yesterday, we better ban staircases because Biden can't walk up the ramp to Air Force One. Better ban showers because 12-year-old girls might be caught showering with their daddy. Yeah, it's so stupid. Go out and get on our roads and see how people drive. This nation is not united except in one thing: evil. That the CCP would sacrifice towns and cities to protect our beloved Bejing is disgusting. What kind of a government would do that to their people? An atheistic, godless government that mocks and says there is no God? Oh, and you're God and you're in charge of a country and you just shred people that you don't think have any value or importance, and you have your gay little one-child policy shit, or did? How about if we abort all the leaders? Your lives aren't worth living because you're fucking with people. And this is my argument. Everybody gets all sad when something happens to a Hollywood star. We're not getting news over here. Our news is the same thing as the bullshit that goes on in a small town and a high school. I was the one made fun of for the thick glasses. I was made fun of for everything. Bullied, harassed, teased. And then you had the popular girls. None of them were anything worth writing about. And the media does the same damn thing. They got their popularity club, the Hollywood stars, the trashy music people like Cardi B and Snoop Dogg and others. And then LeBron. When media puts them at the forefront, and the media doesn't say or do anything dealing with the majority of the people in this country are blue collar, not rich, not on handouts. Let that sink in. When you have to get outside of America to get quality news, and there's some crazy stuff going on over there. Did you see Taiwan the other day? Wind blowing scooters down the streets. We're being lied to by the CLIMATEPOLICE. Lied to, manipulated. Did you see how much rain's been falling in these places? Historic and record levels. If things are getting hotter, then things would get drier. But that's not what you're seeing. Because people who are teaching this bullshit will change the formula every time. Well, actually, it has to do with that because this and this and this happened. Oh, turn the Rubik's Cube one more time. Turn it one more time. Maybe you'll get it now. That's not science. That's bullshit. The more heat, the more things dry. The more drought. I'm not even allowed to express what I need to express on this shitty forum called Google/YouTube, because you're not allowed to disagree with the CCP of the internet. The Chinese Communist Party is not an honorable thing nor a good thing. It is evil. Select elite men get to be on top of the heap, living good lives. They're not living down there where all these blue-collar people are losing everything. These disasters never hit the clowns that it needs to hit. It always fucks with the working people. Always fucks with the mothers trying to raise their kids. Always fucks with the man trudging off to work trying to provide for his family. It doesn't hit Martha's Vineyard. It doesn't hit the dang people that it needs to hit. I really wish God himself would turn that around. I wish a 120-foot wall of water tsunami would come off the Atlantic Ocean and drown the Capitol building with all of the politicians in it. And the roof and the rotunda and all that, just no trace. Then we could start again. We have a document that says a government for the people, by the people. But we've got a certain percentage of people that are voting to destroy the Constitution. And I want you to pay attention to all of the shootings and the violent crime and who leads the path in that. Democrats and people who are anti-conservative. Who's shooting who? Who's killing each other? Black people that register Democrat and tend to vote for Democrat, and let that sink in. This isn't something I'm pulling out of my butt cheeks. Unfortunately, YouTube is saturated. I'll never get the press that I want. You know, wicked government is involved when they can actually make decisions to shred their own people and not even have an ounce of compassion. That's fucked up. A government that's got its heart in the right place cares about all of the citizens underneath that group of people. I don't know why America and the world is hell-bent on returning back to oppressive regimes and oligarchs. I don't know why rich people who earn way more money than me are in politics and want to fuck with my life instead of taking their money and going to some island somewhere and enjoying their life. We live in bad times, folks. But what the CCP is doing in China is disgusting. If you fuckers really believe in socialism, get rid of your fucking wealth, get rid of your fancy housing, your fancy rides, and get down into these places where we live. But you're full of shit. And this is what bothers me. All atheists have done by denying the Bible is excuse their actions to be wicked and evil and self-serving and to deem themselves as the fittest, slamming the sledgehammer of oppression down on everybody that they don't like. It is racism. It is class warfare. It is awful. The Chinese Communist Party is disgusting. They're not true socialists. They're full of shit. They're not struggling to make ends meet, and they don't care about those who are. They're power hungry, self-serving, gluttonous pigs. And that's true of every single corrupt government, including the United States of America. These Democrats are self-serving pigs. The bullshit that comes out of their mouth never stops. They're filthy rich, and it's not enough for them to get money through all this. Now they got to do illegitimate things like Biden Burisma. Hillary Clinton has never been tried for the sins and the crimes that she's been guilty of. You know, that embassy and Americans died in there. She allowed that to happen. Getting rid of all the emails, smashing computers in the White House. Yeah, the Clintons. And you listen to a moron, Nancy Pelosi. I can't imagine anybody sees any value in that woman at all. The woman is a slaughterer of millions. She's endorsed a party and endorsed the right of women to kill 61 million people. And our media lies to us. They call it choice. They call it choice. They call it reproductive choice. Choice for the child that just got slaughtered in the womb. Yeah, good one, press. 61 million children have been killed in America alone. So who's the bad regime? You say this is the land of the free, the home of the brave? No, it isn't. This country is the most oppressive country in the world because it favors some. It favors a bunch of self-centered women that want to live and do whatever the fuck they want with no consequences. This country is more dangerous to me than some of these others. We have women that are full of themselves, narcissists, no longer dating men. Men are no longer even considered unless they got a huge bank account. Women are not just gold diggers, they're opportunists in this country. They only want you and are nice to you when they want something. That's it. I'm getting tired of Republicans and conservatives, singing Chevy Apple Pie and salute the American flag, trying to tell me how great this country is. You're full of shit. It isn't. We got a systemic pandemic going on in our country right now. If you think I'm bullshitting you, watch how people drive. Watch how they obey the speed limit, use their turn signals, and use courtesy out there. Show me. Americans are assholes. They've become assholes. Not every single one of them, but the majority of them have. And that goes for conservative Republicans too. Republicans talk about all the laws being broken by the Democrats, but watch how Republicans drive their trucks. Watch how pro-Trump people drive their trucks. Oh yeah, they're a great example out there, right? You see, we don't live by a model of anything. And when you have a party saying they're pro-socialist, they got $1 billion to their name or $40 million to their name. Why is America not standing up and banging on their door saying, if you're a socialist, why are you living in this mansion and you got a bank account that's ridiculously huge? That's not socialism. Share the wealth, morons, or get out of office. In theory, socialism sounds like it'd be a great idea, right? That if we all work for the collective good, we could all have the same grade level of stuff. No, that's not what socialism's about. It's about atheistic domination and control and fucking with all of us low-class peasants. This is no different than what left England to come over here to start a country, except bad news, FYI, there is not a country that will receive us if the shit hits the fan over here. There's no country that Americans can have refugee status. Let that sink in. So that's why there's a concerted effort on fucking with the United States and trashing it. That's why. This administration has no business being friendly to the Chinese leadership. This country never should have allowed American businesses to set foot in China and do business over there. And Nike, a pro-black company based out of China, all those shoes are all made out of China on pennies on the dollar, and they charge ridiculous amounts of pricing for hardly any material. That's a sandal, I get that. And the obsession in this country by black people with Nike-only products. We are branded, we are bought, we are manipulated, and we are owned over here. It is disgusting. And if you don't have an iPhone, if you don't have this, if you don't wear these, you're a nobody in this culture. That's not right. I needed to do this rant. I hate the CCP. I hate the Democrat Party of the United States of America. They are evil. They are dangerous. They are violent. They support and enable and are a platform to organized as well as unorganized and violent crime. They are the mafia of the U.S. today. They are corrupt. They are accountable to nobody. The Republicans don't have the balls to stop them. Won't even try, because the Republicans are just as corrupt. They all go and have beer after they're fighting on national TV. It's disgusting. That Ilhan Omar, who comes from a country that is just Syria, great place to live. Everybody's shelling each other over there. Great fucking country. She comes over here, is a raving lunatic, BITCH, hates America, hates Jews, hates Christianity, and she can go on the House floor screaming and yelling her anti-Semitism, and not one Democrat says, Omar, that's enough. You're done. This party only screams racism when it involves a fucking white cop and a black guy acting bad. Nothing else is racist unless it involves a white and a black person. Ilhan Omar is racist as fuck. Got voted in Minnesota. I spent years in Minnesota. I love the beauty of Minnesota, but Minnesotans are some of the dumbest fucking people I know when it comes to their politics. I lived up there. They have no fucking emotion except anger. They look at you funny when you say hi to them. I don't know him. I said hello. I'm not making this shit up, folks. I wouldn't live in Minnesota. I wouldn't live in that part of the country. Again, they're morons. Are there some good people in Minnesota? Yeah, but most of them are morons. I can look at the Democratic Party and I can look at their spawn and I can look at their towns, and there's so much bullshit that goes on, it's not even funny. Democrats for years made the accusation of rich Republicans. Please show me any number of rich Republicans that come close to owning the collective wealth of all these Democrats. Bezos, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg of Facebook, and all the Google people. They're all in bed with these clowns. All in bed, owned, and are a platform for the Democrat left. And guess what? We're all part of the problem because we're stuck on Google. Google's a bully bulldozer. I mean, this thing is called a Google Chrome. They bully to be the search engine. They're a monopoly. They're a domination. And we're living in a day and age where when Edmund, I think it was, if I remember correctly, or Eustace, whatever, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe climbs up on that woman, that witch's sleigh, and she hands him Turkish delight, and he's hooked. That's what the internet's done to us. And when they get everybody on there, then they're going to control everything you say and do. Look at the addiction and the power of this. How many of you can get off of it? How many of you can stop and stay stopped? Your jobs demand you're on it. Your bank demands you're on it. Your church demands you're on it. The churches play into this horse shit. Like us on Facebook. Church not too far from me. Like us on Facebook. Nothing on your digital sign that gives me any reason why I want to go there. And I went to the church. The wife is plastic, never said hello to me. Typical Southern plastic. Why is he in the ministry? There was no friendliness in there. There was no heart in there. And churches in America aren't hitting it. There is no passion. There is no life. It's these old fuddy-duddies, the little cliques that drive off anybody who isn't just like them. All of Christians in America forget to realize that Jesus chose 12 disciples and they were not in sync. He didn't choose the Starbucks latte crowd. Well, he didn't have that. He didn't choose those kinds of people. Fishermen, tax collectors, Peter, who constantly made screw ups. He chose people that were not looked at with high regard in mainstream society. And Christianity in America has become designer Christianity. For I know the plans I have for you to prosper you. Oh, women love to group hug that one. Women in America love to group hug. David was a man after God's own heart. Was he? He lusted after Bathsheba, fucked her brains out, got her pregnant, and then had Uriah, his wife, her husband put on the front line of battle, basically murdered. A man after God's own heart, huh? Yes, that's what the Bible says. But let a man look at porn who's in a shitty marriage with a nagging wife and she catches him and show him back to a Christian. My husband's looking at porn. Oh, that's so terrible. Wait, didn't you say David was a man after God's own heart? He fucked a woman and had her husband killed. I didn't do that. I looked at an image and went, pfft. You get me? Do you see the switcheroo? Do you see how we've changed? Christians in America get all uptight over sexual politics and sexual this and sexual that, but they ignore their materialism. They ignore their shitty attitudes. They ignore their looking down their nose mentality. You got boring, or overweight women in the church saying, God looks at the heart. Well, good, but God's not going to fuck you either. So don't put that trip on me. You're 350 pounds. I'm not interested. That you're supposed to look at the heart. I do. You're a glutton. Boom! Out the door, baby. You haven't got a problem. Food is your idol. I do look at the heart. And I don't want a heart that's that big, okay? You're a pig. And if you say these things in our culture today, you're terrible. Churches have created within their own environs a culture that makes them feel comfortable and makes outsiders that don't capiche uncomfortable. That's not the purpose of the church. Pastors need to look at their congregation and know them. And he needs to say, sheep, I'm going to tell y'all something. You're bad. And he needs to tell them that. Women are ignored in the church. Pastors are simps. They white knight the females. Why? They're not going to tell the women what they need to hear because the women will get up and leave. That'd be the best thing that would happen in a church. The women should leave. And men should start movements where, like Wesley and Moody and Ironsides and those guys, there were no women in there. We're catering to feminists. We're catering to rebellious, self-centered women, even in the church. Sunday school teachers are women. Everything run by women in the church. For the most part, where's the men? And Christians are so trite. They'll comment, look at him. He's a Christian. Look at what's this? What's this? Ah, but you'll never look at yourself. You always project on me and everybody. Well, he doesn't fit with our group. He doesn't dress right. And why doesn't he cut that hair? And do you hear the cussing? Do you hear that? You see, I've lived long enough to realize that's how Christians get around their own sin. They find a fault with me. Ah! Pacific has a fault. Discredited. Boom, boom, boom. Put it in a box. Out. Not going to listen. They ignore their sins. They think they're growing to God. They think they're godly. They're not. They're full of shit. What does all this have to do? It has everything to do with it. The church has done nothing to stop the Democrat hideousness that goes on in this country. They're not standing up and speaking about it. Dobson threw millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars wasting money to stop abortion. He admitted it didn't work. So why does the church seem to have no power in this culture? Why is it that evil is getting greater and greater and greater? Why is it gaining traction over the rights of people? You know, there's more people in China than there are CCP members. If those people would wake up, they could overpower them. Well, not weapon-wise. How do we let a minuscule few have that much control? And we're doing it right now in this country. That ought to sober every one of us. Any government that can allow cities to be destroyed for the sake of protecting one ought to be lined up and shot by a firing squad. The CCP needs to be executed. All of them. Not like I could do it. I couldn't. How could I do that? I don't have that kind of power. I don't have access to the materials. Be fun to turn into a massive eagle and go down one at a time. And when they come out in public, dig my talons in their scalp and fly off and hope to not get shot. I'm not going to say nice things about evil people like that. I'm not going to sit down and pray and beg God to stop them. He clearly isn't. I'm sick of a lot of Christian stuff in America where they're telling us that, well, in his time, you're getting richer, you're getting ruder, you're not changing the world, you're in a comfortable church, you look down your nose on me and you want to sit there and say, in his time, you're not even changing. You don't even accept me. It's okay for us to get mad at this crap that we see. It's okay for us to cry out and say, how long, oh Lord, are you going to endure with this? That's called getting real. Nobody needs to worry about the way I dress or me and this and that. That is so unimportant with all that's going on right now. I'm just different. But the CCP is evil. The Democratic Party is evil. I'm not mincing words. And I'm not going to entertain a bunch of Democrat trash talk. Oh, Trump and the Republicans and Trump and the Republicans. And let me tell you something, assholes. My paycheck is being spent more for the bullshit of what the left has done in this country than before. I don't care what you think about Trump or the Republicans. I just know this, that when Biden took office, it fucked my take-home pay. Hugely. And statistics are very loud and clear. Crime has escalated exponentially all across the landscape since Biden has gotten to the helm. Defund the police. Good mantra, right? Blacks are killing each other more now in record numbers than ever. And the Democratic Party's stopping it. How? Seattle, San Francisco, Newsom of California has fucked with the state so much that people are leaving in droves. Even moving to Florida, which is hurricane ravaged yet again with Idalia. And why is China getting hit with all kinds of earthquakes and disasters and massive flooding? I don't believe for 1 minute God is pleased with the CCP or endorses that. I don't believe for 1 minute he endorses Pelosi and the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi is one of the biggest hypocrites alive in this country. No one is above the law. Oh, except you guys. You want to single out Trump, and you don't use that same obsessive compulsive disorder that you have for Trump on one sitting right next to you called Joe Biden and his son. That's fucked up. And any party that deliberately cuts off our drilling and shuts down the pipeline and shuts down this and penalizes people for using what we've used, who made you the fucking police of the planet? And I can look at the Democrats and say, I don't care how much college you got in so-called science. That Bible tells us how this country and this world, or not this country, but how this world's going to end. And God's not going to recycle it at all. All you classic car collectors, all you antique collectors, all you baseball card collectors, all you collectors of everything, all that shit, all you're doing is moving the Kindle into different places around the globe, and God's going to burn it all and destroy it all. We put our affections as people that are human. We put our affections on things way too much, and I'm guilty too. I've been through all phases. I collected Tonkas and Hot Wheels for years. Now I buy a car once in a while that catches my eye, but nowhere near the collections that I once owned. You know, I buy crap like that once in a blue moon, but this has always been under $1. Now it's $1.18. That stuff is going up. Everything's going up. And at the end of the day, when we die, you don't get to take all that die-cast shit and Tonkas and classic cars with you. And yet we as humans spend so much time and so much energy and so much money and so much headspace over things that are passing away. And the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi said they're more like Jesus. Did you hear that? Really, Jesus had $80 million in mansions and all that, huh? I think you're wrong on that one, Pelosi. In fact, I know you are. And why are the Democrats so greedy for money? Because they're scared shitless. They're living for this world right now. They're not looking at eternity, and most Christians aren't looking at eternity. They're looking at their snow globe culture, their Currier and Eyes. Merry Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season, and I get more presents and money and fun. Jesus has no power in our culture today because he's not being represented by us and by the church at large anymore. It's a candy wrapper, Jesus, folks. Jesus went to the cross, humbled himself, and died. I don't see Christians doing that. I see Christians amassing wealth, being greedy, not being any different in the world around us. But hey, keep tuning into David Jeremiah. Keep tuning into these preachers that are making their millions of dollars and let them tell you about how bad it's getting out there while they're living in their little protected enclaves. Is anybody getting sick of this yet? I am. And I do this on purpose. I'd love to go to Home Depot. I want to actually find a wider band, you know, and go to Home Depot with my jeans on and this and my big chain necklace and walk right in there and buy lumber. And the reason for that is because I like to poke the bear of our stupid culture. People make a judgment on stupid shit. I know, because I did it myself. I think that'd be quite an ensemble. My nice black jeans and this. Then walk right into the store and watch people go, what the hell? I hope I have the boldness to do that one day. And I wish I had a friend to walk with me with a phone camera and just say, video me just walking in here. And make sure you get people's reactions. Don't say anything. Just do it discreet. And we'll post it on YouTube. Women can walk around like this. A woman can walk into Home Depot with this on. Men will stare. Nobody cares. But let me walk in there like this. And all the alarms will go off in people's mental space. But it's not going off about the shit that's being done in Washington. It's not going off about 61 million children killed. It's not going off that American women like dogs more than people. It's not going off that we have more commercials, more organizations, more animal shelters, and more shit to protect the rights of animals than we do me and you. I'm not making good points. I'm making truthful points. I don't support the Communist Party. People ask, will you go to Hong Kong? Never again. I don't see me going out of the country, honestly, but never again. I'm done. Hong Kong is done. And Americans forget about Nanking, Pearl Harbor, Manila, Vietnam, Korea. They forget. And they think people are nice now. They're worried about what pronoun you use now. And they don't realize that there are evil people that haven't changed a bit from what happened 40, 50, 60, 100 years ago. They would torture you. They would fuck with you. They're doing it right now. Biden running around, shut down this, shut down that, tax all of the energy companies, tax oil, gas, everything. Natural gas is one of the most clean burning fuels out there. We have a lot of it in the US, and Biden is fucking with things. He's not offering a solution or alternative. His alternative is more expensive. You ask how much you're going to pay for an electric car, how much you're going to pay for a charging station, how much you're going to pay to charge it. I guarantee you that son of a bitch is going to cost more than a pickup truck, a 99 F-150 that's a 6-cylinder engine is going to cost you way more than that used truck will cost in gas consumption and all that. Just saying. But, electric is the answer. Batteries with lithium in them mined out by black children in Africa with no OSHA, no law protection on labor rights or any of that. But Democrats don't give a shit about rights when it has to do with their agenda. Never forget that. And you ask me, what is the answer? The only answer that I could come up with is American people would have to rise up and by storm take this party and say, fuck, you're done. They won't do it. They won't do it. They're afraid. Because America has, people want to talk about how great this nation is. You're full of shit. Because the life that we've lived in so many decades has taught us to be fiercely independent, to rely and trust nobody, and that's exactly why the Democratic Party prospers. We're not a group anymore. We're individuals. And I, as an individual, am not going to go and do something that's going to get me in trouble unless I have a massive army of people with me. You get what I'm saying? Divide and conquer was going on a long time ago. This is the end of my rant for today. Let that sink in. This party is not going to let Trump or a win happen that's going to be the death knell of their party. I can assure you of that. They've got a taste for blood. They've got a taste for power. Watch out.